Hello, this is Ruth Ann with First 5 Years Active Parenting. Read aloud of Week 8 material starting at page 123. Preparing children for school. Smart thing number 2. Encourage learning. Did you know that it is natural for humans to want to learn? It is one of the reasons that we have survived on this planet. The second smart thing that we can do for a child to get her ready for school is to encourage her natural desire to learn. The best tool you have to do this is encouragement. Here are some ways to encourage her. Set a good example. When you show your child that you think learning is important, you are also encouraging them to think learning is important. For example, taking this course and reading this workbook even shows that you value learning and are putting effort into it. Let your child see that you want to keep learning and keep improving yourself. Your child will catch on by osmosis. Other ways you can set a good example is to read good books and use the internet to research. A television and other medias also help us learn and discover, not just entertainment. Show your child how you do it. For example, you can say, if we want to make a good snack for your class, we need to find a good recipe. Let's look online for one like this. Or you could say, Uncle Larry's spending the summer in Puerto Rico. Let's see where that is on a map. You can plan to take trips to fun and educational places. Children learn best by touching and doing. Look for children's museums that have hands-on exhibits. Trips to zoos, including petting zoos and aquariums, are also great experiences. When you are there, point out interesting things you see. Read the names of the animals to your child. Show interest in what you are learning. On the way home, talk about what you saw. You can even play a game to help your child remember what she saw and make it more fun. Here is an example. Parent says, "Who am I? I am sweet looking. I am soft to touch. I make a sound that says, bah." Child responds, "A sheep." Parent states, "Right, I am a sheep, bah," like the one we saw at the petting zoo. Encourage your child to ask questions. Children are naturally curious and will have lots of questions. Do not discourage a child from asking questions. In fact, encourage her to think of more questions. When your child asks a question, respond positively. Here's an example. Child asks, "Why is the sun hot?" Parent states, "That's a good question. I guess it's hot so we can stay warm enough to live and grow things. Why do you think it is hot?" Child, "So we can go swimming." Parent, "I like that. A hot sun warms the water. Maybe we can go swimming this afternoon." You don't have to be an expert or give a scientific answer to every question asked. Just keep the conversation positive and show interest in their interests. Help your child learn how to work things at home and in the wider world. As your child grows older, you can help her look up answers she has to find answers to her questions on the internet. Find ways to make learning more fun. Look for other creative ways for your child to think and learn. You can get the whole family involved. For example, take a hike together. Ask your children to find the most unusual thing they can find along the way. Take turns sharing what you see. Play games together. Board games are still a great way to encourage thinking. A lot of video games are both fun and educational too. Just be sure that the game is appropriate for your child's age. Compliment your child on how she uses her mind. Instead of telling your child over and over again, "You're so smart," tell her how well she is doing a specific task or skill, or compliment character qualities. For example, "I like how you're building the blocks. That's very interesting." "I see you drew a purple cow. Very creative." Instead of telling your child over and over, "You're so pretty," or "handsome," "Look what you can do." Instead of telling your child over and over, "You're so pretty," or "so handsome," instead say, "Look what you can do." Special needs. If your child has difficulty learning, you may be tempted to take over for him when he has trouble. Or you may get frustrated with him and want to give up trying. Resist both of these temptations. Instead, find out what your child can do and focus on that. Work on your patience. How do you learn what your child can do? You ask professionals, such as your child's doctor. You can ask experts on different topics about your child's special needs. You can do research online, and you can use your own good judgment. You might try a support group for people who have children with the same special needs as your own. The key is to learn how your child learns best. Smart thing number 3, read aloud and talk. Converse with your child. Reading may be the most important skill your child will ever learn. Even so, do not worry about teaching your young child to read yet. There will be plenty of time for your child to read later on when he begins school. In fact, it is probably better for your child not to learn to read until his brain has had more time to develop. Between birth and age 5, children's brains have more important work to do. There are a lot of things you can do right now to help your child get ready to learn to read. One of the best is to read to him early. Read to him in the womb before birth. Read to him after birth when he's little. Read often, every day if you can. Even 7 months gestation, a fetus in the womb can learn to recognize his parent's voice and be calmed by hearing it. During a child's first year, reading aloud to him can help him learn the sounds that will lead to language skills. Colors, textures, and sounds found in books also help a baby's brain grow and build connections. As your child gets older, he will start understanding some of what he has heard and read. He will begin to connect pictures with words. You can help by showing him the words while you say them, but don't worry if he doesn't, quote unquote, get it. Just keep reading and keep having fun with it. Here are some ideas for how to get the most out of reading to your child. Tips for reading aloud to young children. Get your child actively involved. Sometimes it's good just to let your child curl up in your lap while you are reading with him. Other times it's better to have him actively involved. Here are some suggestions. Get sturdy books to read to young babies. They can turn the pages then. Let toddlers finish favorite phrases and rhymes. Ask questions about the story like, why do you think he did that? What would you do? Do you think this is going to work? When you read from a picture book, ask your child to point to what is happening in it. You can say, can you show me the turtle? What is he doing here? Point to words while you read them. This will help your child get the connection between letters and words. Also, point out any letters that are in your child's name. Learn how your child likes to be read to. Some children are more active. Some like to relax and use their imagination more. Pick out books that are right for your child's age and interest. In general, young children do best with picture books. For babies and 1-year-olds, try Talk and Touch board books that don't tear when they are handled roughly. 2 to 4-year-olds can handle more advanced storybooks as well as alphabet and counting style books. Learn the kinds of books that your child likes best. You can ask a librarian at the local public library for suggestions, or look for recommendations by age group in bookstores and online sellers. Get cozy when you read. Both you and your child will get more out of a story time if you think of it as a time not only to read together but also to snuggle together. Remember, loving touch helps to calm children and the parent too. It strengthens your bond together and builds trust for one another. Your child will develop a good feeling about reading itself when this is the truth. Involve the whole family. Encourage everyone in the family to read. Make sure your child sees reading and writing used in your home for a variety of purposes, from grocery lists on the fridge door to news articles on the computer screen. Every example shows him that reading and writing are an important, fun part of life. Make reading fun. Act out stories while you read. You can complete them with sound effects or by using a different voice for each character. Laugh at silly stuff and have fun. Make up your own stories. Tell some true stories. You don't have to read from a book to give your child a great story time. Telling your own stories shows your child more ways to use words. It can be a way to teach him new things or to just be creative. As your child grows older, you can make up stories together, taking turns to add what happens next. Here's a tip from Ruth Ann. Many boys' brains do not develop to read until they are 6 years old, sometimes even 7 years old. Sometimes we push children too hard. In my background, while a girl might be learning to read at 5 or 6 years old, it may take a young boy a little longer. Toilet training can be the same way. Sometimes a 2 and 3-year-old girl can train, while a boy may need to be 3. Before successful toilet training can be accomplished. This does not mean you're a bad parent or your child is not smart. It's just the way their brain is growing. More ways to develop interest in school. Talk to your child. It is not just reading that is important, but also talking and conversing with your child. The more words your child hears, the more connections she will make in her brain. This helps her learn words and how to put them together. It will also help her do well in school when she is older. So talk to your child even when she is too young to understand or respond. With a baby, you can describe feeding while you're changing her diaper or anything else you do with her body or near her and around her. With an older child, you can talk about things at the grocery store that you see, what you're looking at while you walk, or your plans for the day's activities. Once your child begins to speak, you will have many more options for talking with her. You can respond to whatever she says and also ask her questions. The way you respond to her will either encourage or discourage her from sharing with you. So be an encouraging partner in conversation. Here are some tips to help you make the most of talking with your child. Listen with your eyes as well as with your ears. Look at your child when she's talking. Show that you are paying attention. Smile, nod, and laugh. Encourage her to keep talking by saying things like, "I see. Well, that's interesting. I never thought of it like that." Show that you get what she is saying by repeating it in your own words. Ask follow-up questions. Sometimes you can follow your child's lead in a conversation. Let her talk and see where it goes. Other times you can lead the conversation and see if she will follow your train of thought. Always be positive and show an interest in what your child says. That is encouraging. Smart thing number 4 to prepare a child for school: limit their screen time. Ever since the invention of television, parents have been wondering what to do about it. Is it good for children or bad for them? The answer is that it depends on what they're watching and how much of it they watch. The same can be said for all of the screens available to children today. Like computers, smartphones, tablets, and other devices. So it is important that you limit your child's screen time and monitor what your child is watching and playing. Here are some ideas to keep in mind. Screens can be habit forming. Why is too much screen time a problem if your child is watching healthy, high-quality programming? It is very easy for a child or an adult to fall in love with their screens because they move and change. But spending too much time watching and playing on screens means less time is left for more important activities and things like physical exercise, social interactions, or playing with others, resting and sleeping, creative play, and smart play. Be careful not to let your child's screens become their babysitters. Make sure your own screen habits don't keep you from spending quality attentive time playing with and caring for your child. How much screen time should a child get? The American Academy of Pediatrics has some useful guidelines. Under 18 months, there should be no screen time other than video chatting with distant grandparents. From 18 months to 24 years old or 2 years old, 18 months to 24 months, which is 2 years. Avoid letting a child use media alone. Choose only high-quality programming and apps. And always watch beside your child or play the game with them. This is how toddlers learn best anyway. From 2 years old and older, no more than an hour of high-quality programming a day. Watch and play along with your child as often as you possibly can. Find other activities for them to do that are healthy for the body and mind, such as reading, talking with others, and playing outdoors. Always know what your kids are watching to make sure it is age appropriate and not violent. Note, media and technology change quickly. Sometimes guidelines change too. So it's a good idea to check every once in a while to make sure you're up to date on common recommendations from the American Academy of Pediatrics. I also have a note here. It's not only the violence that we see on screens, but some of us have been studying, and in my background of Anabaptist, there has been very little screen use, and yet the incidence of child sexual abuse and perversions is very high in my culture. So we went on a search and asked ourselves to think about where our children could be being exposed to violence. And it came to light that spanking and paddling 5 to 10-year-olds can sexually stimulate them and cause them to have difficulties with perversions later in life. It also does something to their brain that disconnects the love of God and harms them from having a fulfilling walk with Jesus later in their life. So I would recommend that, along with limiting violence on screens, we limit violence that our children see and hear in their own bodies and homes. Be in control of what your child is watching and playing. There are a lot of good programming now made for kids to watch or play. Some of it can help prepare a child for school days, teaching them letters or numbers. It can help to teach some good values like taking turns, honesty, and being a good friend. Make sure that you pick movies, TV shows, games, and other programming that is good for a child. And keep your child away from content that is too violent, too sexualized, or that teaches them negative values. To do this, you need to watch a lot of what your child is also watching. Children are easily upset by violence. Even if they seem to be doing okay, they may have nightmares about something later on. Be careful not to take a young child to a movie meant for bigger kids or adults, even if you think he's far too small to understand what's happening on the screen. Wait until you put your child into bed before you watch TV shows that include sexual content or violent acts. Use rating guides to help you choose more wisely. You might not allow your child to watch PG-rated movies at all until she is older. But if you do, remember that PG means parental guidance. Do not let your child watch a PG movie alone. Watch such a movie beside him. Talk with him about the mature content and about anything that upsets or confuses him. For example, you can say, "The violence happening in this movie is not real. It's make-believe. The horse did not really get hurt." Do not let your child use the internet in his own room. You want to be able to see what he is watching and doing when he is online. If he's watching something inappropriate, calmly help redirect him to a better option to look at. Smart thing number 5. Teach social skills to your child. Surviving and thriving requires a lot of different skills. Some of our most important skills are the ones that help us get along with others, such as social skills. These skills are especially important when going to school, where children of all different temperaments are required to get along together. Children start school with some basic social skills. Who start school with some basic social skills have a head start. Some of the most helpful social skills in school are getting along with other children, taking turns, following directions, saying goodbye to their parents, following routines, sticking with a difficult task, considering other people's feelings, having positive ways to express their own feelings, rather than hitting, biting, screaming, and other negative behavior. Begin teaching your child these skills before they must go to school. They will help her get along better with others and do better in school with the rules and routines. You can use some of the methods that you are learning in this book. State in positive terms. Do this, not that. Make rules for your child to follow. We take turns when we ride the tricycle. Make a when-then rule. This is an example. When you put the blocks away, then we can read a story. Give a choice and a consequence. For example, either stay next to me while we shop, or you can ride in the shopping cart. You may decide. Use the ACT method. For example, I know you like to paint, but the floor is not to be painted on. Let's clean this up and then we'll paint on some paper. Encourage your child. Examples are, I know you can do it. You're really good at this. I like how you stick with the job. My mother, Marie, supports her grandbabies saying goodbye when it's time to go home. Cheerfully, without a pout. Grammy gives Smarty candy rolls with the parents' permission if you go home without crying about it. Emotional intelligence. Social skills are different from academic skills like knowing the alphabet or how to count to 20, but they're just as important. Social skills have a lot to do with how we handle our emotions. This is also called emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is a person's ability to identify your own emotions and those feelings of others. Manage your own emotions and cheer up or calm down another person. And use emotions in positive ways. This is emotional intelligence. So a child's emotional intelligence is about how well she understands feelings or emotions, not only her own, but also other people's. As your child learns more social skills, she will get better at telling you how she is feeling. She will learn to tell how other people are feeling. She will get smarter about how feelings work. Babies start out without any of these three skills, but as they grow, they pick them up from the people that spend time with them. That's why it's so important for parents to teach their young children social skills and encourage them to learn about feelings. So let's look at the three skills that make up a child's emotional intelligence and see how you can help your child learn. 1. Identify your own emotions and those of others. We begin doing this when we try to guess what our children are feeling by their facial expressions, the tone of their voice or crying, and other clues. The next step is to name that feeling. For example, you look like you feel sad. You sure seem excited. Ouch, that must have hurt.